Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. We're at the new studio location. You're my second guest in this new location, so...
That's special.
You know what's really special? My guest before you was named Maijah as well.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Probably not spelled the same way, though.
No, theirs is weird, too, though. It's M-A-I-A-H.
What the...
Like,
Oh, my
yours,
God.
and you have a J in yours. That's like...
I do.
That's not common, right?
No, not really.
And that's your birth name, Maijah?
It is.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Is that her birth name, too?
Yeah.
Should probably collab. I need to go watch the other. Yeah.
Oh, Maijah Manzer, she's super dope. She just moved to I thought you lived in LA, but you live in Portland.
You're just seeing the future projection. Yes,
Yeah.
I am in Portland.
So you grew up on Vashon Island.
Yeah.
And when did you move off Vashon Island?
Okay, I was born in Portland, moved to Vashon when I was 10, and then lived there until I was like 18. So I think me and my boyfriend moved back to Portland in like 2019, like
Dang.
right before the pandemic. Yeah.
And Maijah grew up in Bend, Oregon. That's so crazy. There's just too many.
Oh my God. Either we need to fight or collab, I feel like. ASAP.
So what was that like making music? And did you make music on Vashon? Like, I've been to Vashon quite a bit, and there's not really a big music community there, really.
It's interesting. I think it's a lot more like live music, and it's like people that are probably like our parents' age mostly. Like I got to perform a lot, which I think is like gave me a little bit of an upper hand that like some of my musical friends like don't have as much, because like since Vashon was so small, I played all the time, and it was always like, oh, we need a youth opener, like let's hit up Maijah. And so I got to perform and practice that. But as far as like recording and making music, like, or collabing or anything,
was that community center? What is it? Oh wait, I know what it's called. It's called like O-Tub or something. What is
VCA
it?
Or there's the O-Space.
O-Space.
O-Space is big. VCA is big. Yeah, and it was mostly honestly at like the little bar that's not even there anymore, but it was like right in the main town, and like people would go
and
watch live music and stuff.
Fuck, what is that fake Dairy Queen?
Island Queen?
Island Queen. It used to be an actual Dairy Queen though, right?
Way before we were around, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Vashon, for people who don't know, it's in the PNW. It's not one of the San Juans, is it?
No. But like
what is it? Is there a group of islands that yours is called?
No, it's just Vashon just by itself. Okay. Yeah. And there's no like bridge to it or anything.
No bridge.
So it's like
you have
one
to take
of those
a ferry.
You have to take a ferry, yeah.
And it stops after like what? Last ferry is like 1 a.m. or something. So if you're stuck in Seattle, you're fucked.
That happened to us the other day. We were like at a party, and we were like, oh, I guess we're gonna go to Denny's and fall asleep here.
On the beach?
We went to like a Denny's like in Seattle.
What is that beach called right next to Fauntleroy? I thought it was called Denny or something.
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Now that I'm in Portland, I like forgot everything about Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Portland's like a wannabe Seattle though, right?
Kind of. It's like a wannabe LA, but like climate of Seattle, kind of. Yeah.
But it's like hip. How's it like a wannabe LA? I feel like it's kind of hipster though. I don't know.
It is pretty hipstery. I feel like it's like maybe I'm just thinking in terms of like prices and like attitude and vibe. Also, I feel like a lot of people who live in Portland now just moved from LA, or like vice versa. Like people are like, I'm moving, like me. People are like, we're gonna move to LA. It's just kind of like vibe, yeah, like the vibe and like the shops that are starting to come up and stuff like that too. But it is very Seattle-y too.
And there's that. I think the tax thing is not helpful. Like, there's like no taxes, but then they just increase how much things cost them.
Yeah.
So it's like a fake win-win situation.
It really is fake. It's fun to like not live in Oregon and then go and be like, oh wow, I'm gonna get this for so much less, and then like not have to deal with it. But yeah, working in Oregon, I'm always like, so many taxes. That's such adult things to be talking about right now.
But I wanted to go thrift shop. I wanted to go because they have Buffalo Exchange in Portland, I think, right?
Yeah, they got some good thrifts in Portland.
Yeah, but it's just as expensive as like any.
Dude, don't be fooled by the vintage stores. That's the one thing I'm gonna say. Don't like go thrift shopping and be like, oh, this cute vintage store. It's gonna be like $1 million.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I have PTSD of being in thrift stores for too long. Like when I was growing up, my mom wanted to be in if we went to a thrift store, it'd be for like 6 hours. God. Like my mom was looking for those goddamn deals.
She was searching. Yeah. I don't have the patience for that. I'm always like, I can't find anything, and then I just leave.
Like I just look, and if I don't see any, like I don't even have to like open the racks. I'll just like walk past, and if I don't see anything that catches my eye. But do you know what Chrome Heart is?
No.
Do you know? Chrome Heart is like a super expensive clothing brand. Like, and they're super ugly. There's fucking like crosses on your like cross
weird.
patches. But like all the rappers wear them, and the pants go for like $4,000 for a pair of jeans. And I saw one at the Goodwill HQ in Seattle. Where is that? It's not on Cap Hill. I don't even know what the area of Seattle is. It's the Goodwill HQ. But anyways, I saw them. I was like, these are so ugly. So I didn't get them, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm on my phone, and randomly I get a Chrome Heart ad, even though I had never seen them before in my entire life. And I was like, what the hell? They're going for like $3,000? But it had already gone all the way home.
Yeah.
And I was like, there might be a chance they're still there. So I drove an hour back to the Goodwill, and they were gone. And I was like, fuck. So basically it was a 4-hour journey of back and forthness for like no reason.
And that probably gave you PTSD from your childhood, that experience, that 4-hour chunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds traumatizing.
Now I see Chrome Heart everywhere.
Oh my God. It's like the universe is like, should have comped.
I would never buy them for, like, they were only going for like $20 too. I was like, oh.
Yeah, whoever runs that Goodwill was like, these are fucking ugly. No one's going to want these without even knowing, probably.
So, wait, how long have you been in Portland now then?
We moved there, I think, officially in 2019. So, I don't know. COVID time has fucked everything up, but yeah.
How was that? Like, Portland? I went to Portland last year. Like for the Buffalo Exchange.
Yeah,
well, I was driving
just for the Buffalo Exchange.
I was driving through there for my LA tour. I drove to LA, fucking 18-hour drive. That was intense.
Yeah.
And like most of the shops were closed.
Yeah.
And there was homeless people like everywhere, right? And like I saw this, I think I said on the other podcast too with the other Maijah. Oh no. Basically, like I just saw this like this man and this woman were just like brawling in the middle of the street. So anytime I think of Portland, I just think of
the people brawling.
Yeah. And the Buffalo Exchange being overpriced. But.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, accurate. Yeah. Like, I feel like, there's Portland, even when I was like a literal baby back in like 2000, there was always like I think Portland has like a really high amount of like houseless people per capita.
Oh, yeah,
and then it's just like, but then it's just like increased so much. Like I think the pandemic really displaced like a lot of people, and then the area is just so small, so it's like people don't know where to go, and then it's like it's gotten so much worse, which is crazy.
And then when Chaz and Chop happened in Seattle, it eventually moved, or like the remnants of it moved to Portland.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Did you hear about Chaz and Chop when you were in Portland? And then
a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it was weird though, because like I feel like the media made it really big, but like living in Portland, and it probably felt like that in Seattle too. Like you kind of don't really think about it unless you're like literally in it or participating. So I kept like seeing stuff and like seeing news stories, or I visited my grandparents on the East Coast, and like their friends were like, whoa, like you're from Portland. And I was like, I don't know, life, like it was going on, but it didn't feel as intense as like you'd expect.
So you didn't hear any like crazy explosions or fucking...
You did? Well, we like Sean.
Sean
Sean
protesting out there.
Sean protested. I went to one, but the one that we went to was super peaceful. It was like not. It was like one of the first ones. But I was like working through all of them, so I would just be like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and then he would tell me some things, and I'd be like, damn, hopefully you're safe, and then it kind of just.
What about like, did any of your jobs get like boarded up with like the windows?
No, so I was working in Lake Oswego at the time, which is like Lake Oswego is like Oregon's. It's like what Bellevue is to Seattle.
Oh.
Lake Oswego is to Portland. It's like a little bougier, like right on the outskirts, like So I was working at this like vegan burger place inside of like a Whole Foods in Lake Oswego. So I was like, did not, just clueless. But we did, like, we would hang out in downtown and stuff, and that was crazy to see everything being boarded up.
That's what's the history behind Lake Oswego?
I don't know anything. We live kind of close, and then you like drive in, and it gives me Bellevue vibes. Okay. Except for a little bit worse. No offense.
Like when I was in school, I didn't realize I was learning like Washington history. Yeah. Like when we talked about like Native Americans.
Oh, well, definitely.
I was just thinking of just like the world. I never realized like how big the population here. So I'm still like every time I drive somewhere, someone's like I live in Snohomish, and like a city that's I think 20 minutes away from me is like Sultan, which I can't go to because I'm black and I'll get fucking lynched there or some
No!
shit.
Oh, no.
To be honest. But anyways, like, and it's crazy too because these are like, I still don't know. Is hick like a bad word? Because trashy white people, right? We just call them hicks at this point. Yeah, so like, Sultan's basically a hick town, right? But Sultan is named after like a Native American chief, Chief Sultan. So I'm like, how do you go from like these towns being named after Native Americans and then it's just like these just like country as fuck towns?
For real. Yeah, actually, there were a lot of things about like Oswego being like,
sounds
you
like
know, not being, and it's like all white people, but that you know, Portland and Seattle in general is like so white. Everybody is white.
Yeah.
And I think that actually right around the election in Lake Oswego, that's where like a lot of the like really racist shit that was getting reported was happening. And I remember like driving to work and just being like, ooh, there are a lot more Trump supporters here than like in downtown Portland that are like, at least that are open about it. And that was always super weird, being like, whoa, this is different.
Yeah, the pandemic, I don't know if it exposed, because I don't know if those guys are thinking they're being exposed by having their parades. They're just like, we're here. But like, it exposed people to seeing all that stuff being like in their backyard.
It made it a lot more like, it brought it to the forefront, and it was a lot more, you know. Like
if you're a white power guy, I don't think you can be exposed. You're kind of happy with what your beliefs,
they
right?
like want people to know. Yeah, I guess. I mean, probably. I feel like if you're embarrassed about it, that's your first clue that you're probably not in the right. Like, oh, I don't want people to know. But also, yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Yeah. So music, right? So
music, yeah. So pop star.
So you're a pop star.
Yeah.
Actually, you have like a song with 1 million plays. How the fuck? That's like some pop star stuff there.
It was that was a collab actually with Sean's sister. And that was the first song that I had ever like released out into the world. I've been like singing and writing songs forever, and like performing a lot, like we talked about. But we just like really impulsively recorded that in my closet. That Sean set up like a little recording studio in my literal closet, and the two of us were just kind of bonding, and I was like, what if we collabed? And then we did that, and then I think the reason that it has so many streams is because I was like on TikTok kind of marketing it. Yeah, TikTok is crazy. And this girl, this woman, Paula Hernandez, had this TikTok that had like a couple thousand views, and it was all about how like positive affirmation music was like changing her entire mindset. And I just commented like, hey, if you like that type of music, like me and my friend just released this song, blah, blah, blah. And then after I commented that, her TikTok went viral, like million streams.
Holy shit.
And so I was like one of the first comments. So that got a lot of likes. And then she made this big playlist.
Whoa.
And I was like added. Me and Leah were like added immediately. And then that playlist like now has a ton of followers, and that kind of is what got it. It was just like really lucky and like,
jeez,
marketing and connections. And now me and Paula are like pretty close.
Are they even from? Where are they? Are they in?
She lives, I think, in the Midwest. She was out of the country for a little bit, but and she actually really just made a like record label with her fiance for like high vibe music, with like spiritual or like uplifting music. And that's where I released my song Butterfly. I like released that song through them too.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. It's like a really random connection, but it's been super helpful.
Would you say you're in that lane of like spiritual music, or is that just something that like, what's a good example? You know, like how there's rappers that rap about God, and then there's Christian rappers, and those are completely different.
I would like to be more on the side where I'm like Ariana Grande, or like even like Mac Miller. I've been listening to a lot of Mac, and like he'll throw in little references, and it's like he's like talking about the universe and shit, but he's not like spiritual artist.
Right.
Or even like Jhené Aiko, you know, I think I would like to be like that. Okay. But I think right now, because of the TikTok playlist, I'm a little bit like in the niche of the like spiritual artist. Like I think if you Google me, it's like high vibe artist, which is like,
is that a totally newer genre though? High vibe?
Isn't it weird? Right? Yeah, I looked up myself on SoundFacts, and it said I was like high vibe artist, which I'm super grateful for, like, you know, but I do think I have a lot of other songs. I have some songs about like depression and anxiety and like, you know, other different things too. So I definitely hope to expand that a little bit more. But
and that just happens through like releasing more music? Or?
Yeah, I think so. And just like kind of connecting with different types of artists too, and like being compared to artists who are kind of out of that genre, because I think right now it's like there's a solid crew of like a bunch of my friends that I've met through the music world that are all like high vibe, and we're all like these high vibe artists, and I love collabing with them. But I think it would also be cool to like genre bounce a little bit and kind of expand.
But are you into like, you know, charging crystal type shit?
Yes, I am.
What does it mean to charge crystals, by the way?
It depends on the intention behind it, and it depends on the crystal.
Wait, but you actually like, do you put it on a charger or what?
No. You can do it through like fire, like you can light like incense or sage, not white sage, but you can light...
What was white sage?
White sage is like a closed practice because it's like
black magic.
No, indigenous. It's like close to indigenous people, because like white sage is and it's like also kind of an endangered plant as well. So like a lot of companies like Urban Outfitters or whatever will be like, sage, buy our sage, blah blah blah, and it's like a capitalist thing. You're not really supposed to use it.
They're selling white sage?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, we have to, these big corps.
I know. Capitalism. That's also like people will sell crystals and stuff, and they'll just be like straight up fake and things like that. Yeah. So support small businesses and don't buy white sage.
How do you know if it's a real crystal? Also, like,
you just kind of gotta like be trained. Also, there's like
it's
some
a diamond thing, you know, like
right, yeah, exactly. And there's kind of some like telltale signs, like you can kind of feel if like it feels like plastic, it probably is. And like, you know, if you're like getting a really cool chunk of something and it's like really inexpensive, like chances are it's probably fake. If you're like at, like I said, like an Urban Outfitters or a Target or whatever, or like
a movie theater. No, you know, like have like the 25-cent. Like things and like a ring pops out or something.
But you know what? Like, you know, you can find cheap crystal. Anything works. If you feel like your little piece of plastic is empowering you, then...
Well, don't light that though. Like, there's just like carcinogens and like you don't want to breathe.
No, you don't want to light a rock on fire either.
But I thought you said you light on fire.
No.
Oh, I was thinking like a lighter, and then you're like, that's how you're...
No, that's dangerous and a fire hazard and probably wouldn't work.
Oh.
Just put like smoke around it. Know what I'm saying? Like
you just put smoke on your crystals?
Get a little incense, and then you can like...
Oh, I think I understand
it,
now.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like
it's called charging because
you can charge it up that way. You can put it underwater. You can sing to them. You can you can put it under the full moon or the new moon. There's a lot of different things you can do.
But you say you're lighting it on fire versus smoking, because smoking crystals means something else, right?
Smoking. Oh no!
So that's why it's called like lighting, like putting fire to a crystal.
I just say fire magic, I guess.
Oh shit, fire magic!
Don't be smoking your crystals. Also, I feel like there's so many disclaimers.
So, but how do you know if it's charged? If it's charged enough? Like, is there like a percentage of this has been charged enough? Or
I think it's just about how you feel with it, and I think it's kind of like, again, like the energy you're putting into it. If you're like, yeah, I'm gonna charge this up. I think even giving it attention and being like, hey, crystal, I care about you. Like, you know, it's like taking care of a plant or like taking care of any like belonging that you have.
So they have
clean my shoes. Like, you know, you gotta.
So are you personifying crystals, or what is like?
I personify everything. I'm one of those bitches that's like, I'm a strawberry girl and he's a blueberry, and he, you know.
Oh, like strawberry shortcake type stuff.
What
is it called? What is that girl? Is that the name of that girl? Strawberry girl,
the cartoon?
Yeah, like strawberry shortcake.
Yeah, I feel like I personify like everything. Like I feel like I kind of like you know, like personalities. I'm like assign like different things. Like I feel like colors too. Like I'm like, oh, that person's like this color. You know what I mean?
And is
that personify crystals?
And that's from growing up in the PNW. That if you like grew up in like New York or the Midwest, do you think you would be as spiritual?
Oh, good question. My mom and dad were both from the East Coast.
Oh.
They both moved to the Pacific Northwest. They didn't know each other before that. But they ended up pretty spiritual. So who's to say?
Really?
I could assume maybe it wouldn't come as like naturally, but both of my parents for sure. Like, helped out with that.
So were you like charging crystals as a kid, or?
Hell yeah.
And like,
Hell
did you have
yeah.
friends who were into that, or you're kind of weird?
Yeah, I mean, like my mom and dad and like all of their, it was just kind of a given. It
Your
wasn't
dad
like
charges crystals?
Yeah, dude, my dad was such a crystal boy. He was more into crystals than my mom.
Crystal boy.
He's a crystal boy.
Shit.
He had his nipples pierced. He had one tiger's eye and one like amethyst or something like that.
Oh, I just
got a tiger's eye?
I just got given this the other week.
Sean's a tiger's eye boy too. That's
Wow.
a good one. It's good like
Wow.
masculine crystal for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. It helps with like courage and leadership and like balancing your energy. Yeah.
But I don't charge this, or do I?
You don't even have to. I think it's all about the intent, you know? Like if you're wearing it for style, whatever, you know?
Wow.
But if you're like, I'm going to wear this for success, you can charge it however feels good to you.
Okay.
You can talk to it. You can be like,
hey,
help me out.
Help me out.
Give a little like kiss, you know? Like, yeah, exactly. There you go.
And then you're into like astrology stuff too, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like my main squeeze in the spiritual world.
Are those separate, or like if you're a charging girl, are you also charging? I mean,
a charging girl. I think it all can mesh together.
Okay.
I feel like crystal girly. Like I'll see people and like I work at a coffee shop right now. If you walk in and you got a little bit of like, you know, maybe like colorful hair and maybe some tattoos.
Yeah.
And you're like order an oat milk latte. I'm like, what's your sign? You know, like people know that person is probably not going to be like, what? You know what I mean? So I think it can all kind of flow together, but I wouldn't say that everybody that has crystals knows about astrology.
So what is the benefits of being like into astrology? Is there any benefits really?
I don't know if there are necessarily benefits. Like that's another thing that I feel like I grew up with, kind of like just from day one, my parents just kind of like told me as fact. But I do think it's kind of, I'm really into like psychology, and I like getting to know people and kind of observing people and analyzing things like that. And I think that it's like I said, like with personifying things, I feel like it's kind of another way if you're really into astrology and you like look at all of the planets and like all of the things, I feel like you can kind of understand people in a certain way, and it's like pretty fun.
But do you think people like use that to like get out of things, being like, oh, I'm this, that's why I'm a dick? I
totally think so. And I don't think the people that like are really into astrology do that as much. I think it's more people who are like, you know, your sun sign or whatever, which is like, you probably know like what you are, like your sign.
My
it's
sign?
called your sun sign. Yeah.
Oh, so your main sign is
it's called your sun sign. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have like every planet in the solar system is like also affects your astrology, and they're all like different things.
But I get offended when like, I'm not really big into astrology, but I'll say like what my sign is, and then people will be like, oh, I hate those people, or oh, I've met some of those. Like, what does that mean? Like, I feel like I don't want to be judged by my sign before you even know me.
If anyone ever does that, they probably don't know that much about astrology, because your sun sign is like your ego. So it's kind of like the essence of who you are. But then you have your moon, which is like your inside thoughts and then like emotions, which people probably don't even know unless they're really close to you.
Right.
And then you have your rising, which is like first impressions. That's what people will probably assume you are right away. And then like every other planet, like I said, has something.
Wait, break down the rising. I don't know much about the rising.
Yeah, your rising sign is like your first impression. So like I might look at you and like before really talking to you or getting to know you, I might be like, oh, I think he's a blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And that's your rising sign. So it's kind of like the way that you present yourself to the world. And then when people get to know you, they might be like, oh, he's this. Or if people really know you, like your family or your best friends, they might see you more as your moon sign.
But can you change your rising sign?
Nah. You're born. All of this stuff is like the stuff that you're born with, like the minute you're born, and you have to go like to the minute too.
Right.
Then that's like, it's called your natal chart.
But we're like, in this day and age, people can like change their gender. Some people want to change their race, you know, blackface.
People
but I'm just
kidding. Oh no. But change your gender, don't change your race.
but with that, do you think there can ever be a time where you can change what your zodiac stuff is? Or
I mean, I want to say no, but like I think that I'm also talking a lot about Western astrology. So like there's Vedic astrology, which I would love to know more about, because those signs are different. So and in my like limited knowledge, because it is super limited compared to like what it could be, it's like very westernized. So I want to say like, no, you can't change your sign, but who knows down the line, who knows what like wiser, more spiritual people would say about that, you know?
And my grandma would say that if you're like into astrology, then that means you don't believe in God. Do you think those things go hand in hand, or those?
Interesting question.
Yeah, I'm not really into religion that much, anyways. I think it's kind of funny, and I think it gives people like a sense of community and hope. But
Totally.
I don't really know if I'm kind of like, we're in a community. We're in a fucking artist community. That's what I need right now. So I don't know if maybe
Creator
down the road I'll
love.
be into religion, but I don't think so. But
I don't know. Like, I think that you can definitely be both. Personally, I kind of like, I don't believe in like God. I kind of feel like I believe in like everything a little bit. Like I hear like different parts of different religions and I'm like, oh yeah, I could see that. Like, oh yeah, that's cool. And I kind of just more so believe in like the universe, if that makes sense. So I'm like, oh, I trust the universe. And I do feel like a lot of people too who are religious will say like God is within you or whatever.
Yeah.
And I do agree with like that in some ways, like the universe is within you. So like everything that you're believing outwardly, I feel like you do possess within yourself. So it's kind of like all at once, everything all at once sort of thing.
So just like how with religion, some people like will have like a traumatic experience that pushes them into religion. Can that happen with astrology?
I'm sure it can happen. Like, I think that there can be toxic people in every single community. And like what I said earlier too, it can get like very westernized and very like appropriated. And like I said, like I feel like I'm not even educated about like every section of spirituality or whatever. There's so much to learn. And I do think that people could feel like pushed out of it if they're like, oh my God, I don't want to hang out with my spiritual friends anymore. They're so fake. They just like the aesthetic, or they're, you know, categorizing everybody. I don't think you should be like, ew, he's a Gemini, which I'm a Gemini. And I feel like Geminis get a lot of shit. But I feel like that whole thing, like, ew, no, I don't do this. Like, I think you should be open-minded for sure.
Interesting. So now that you're in Portland, have you met like made like a whole new group of like friends and artists? Or?
Dude, no.
Really?
It's so sad.
Holy shit.
I think it's from the pandemic a little bit, because I like got there. Sean and I were both just trying to like get started with school and whatnot, and then boom, pandemic. So I couldn't really make any friends through that. And then I kind of started hanging out with Gemma more, like hitting Gemma up for photo shoots and stuff like that. And just the more that was happening, the more I was coming back to Seattle all the time. And I truly feel like I've in the recent like years just gotten like a huge community in Seattle.
Interesting.
And like the Seattle area. Yeah, but I don't know a lot of people in Portland.
Because Portland's, is that 4 hours away, or how?
It's like 2. It's like 2.5. Yeah.
So that's not too bad of a drive.
It's really not that far, but I think Portland, the Portland music scene that I've seen so far has been a lot more like older, like people who are like in their 40s, who have like been in the scene since we were like kids, or since we were born, and they've just kind of been dominating the scene. It's like a lot of like Americana and like rock and like indie folk and stuff like that. And so I feel like being like a pop star in Portland is really challenging.
Shit, I want to do a tour to Portland and interview the artists. Actually, I should show you a lot of. There's actually is some
hook
cool...
me up, because I'm like help, where are you?
There's this one guy who's not an artist, but he came across my Instagram feed. His Instagram is My Dead Dog and Me.
No. Have you
heard of My Dead Dog and Me?
No, I haven't.
So this guy lives in Portland, and he taxidermied his dog, and he like takes his dog on like adventures and like does photo shoots, and he has like a crazy massive following off it.
I just saw a TikTok with a dude with a taxidermy duck that was similar, and I feel like I see the theme. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's coming together.
Yeah, but so even though you might have not found like a community yet in Oregon, what are the people like compared to Washington, do you feel like?
It is so interesting, because I think if you asked me that question like a couple years ago, I would have been like, Portland is so much friendlier. The scene is so much more like loving and kind and open. Seattle has this like Seattle freeze, you know, where you're like super socially anxious. Now though, I think to an extent that's true, but I also think that I feel like Portland's a little aggressive.
Really?
You know? Yeah. It's like you were saying with the people brawling in the street. Like, that's kind of the vibe. It's like people are like, hey, like, I don't know. It's definitely different than it was. It feels less friendly and a little more like judgy or aggressive. But also, that's a generalization. I might also just say that because I'm kind of one foot out the door to LA and spend so much time in Seattle. So
what made you decide to move to Portland?
Well, it was where I was from, like
Right.
when I was baby to 10, and I wanted to be off of Vashon because Vashon was so small, and I was like, I want to expand, but I felt a little too scared to move like straight up to LA, and my mom just like was having her baby, and I had my other little sister up there, and then also my boyfriend got into Lewis and Clark. So we were kind of like,
congrats.
oh, cool. We could stay together. We could like live together. So it kind of worked out logistically as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
We don't have to touch on it too much, but what is it like to have like siblings so much younger than you?
It's so interesting. I have one sister who's 17. She's my best friend. So she's 4.5 years younger than me. And then 3-year-old sister, Madrona, she like just turned 3, and then my mom just had a baby boy. It's the first boy, and he's 3 months, and his name is Desmond. And it's like weird. It's weird, but also really cool at the same time. It's like practice babies, and I'm getting that like sense of love. Do you have siblings?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you guys close?
Yeah, somewhat.
Are you younger or older, middle?
I'm middle.
I literally fucking knew that you were gonna say that. That's crazy. You give middle child energy for sure. I don't know. I don't know. I just knew. Anyway, I wish I said that. But that would have been so cool. How cool would it have been if I was like, you're the middle child? But no, so I'm the oldest. So me and my first younger sister, Isa, have always been so tightly bonded to, and like our dad died when I was 8.5 and she was 4.5. So we have this like, I feel like we're super like bonded and connected. But then having Madrona and Desmond be so much younger than us has been like, I feel like I'm getting that sense of love that like moms and dads talk about, where they're like, you don't know love until you have one of your own. I feel like I'm getting that practice round with all of my siblings.
So you feel like probably like protective.
So protective and so just like full of love for all of my younger siblings. I feel like I'm like, being the oldest feels so special. I'm like my babies. Does
it feel like your sibling though, or does it feel like, I don't know if this sounds weird, but does it feel more like a niece or something, or a nephew?
Totally. You hit it on the head. Like Isa, my 17-year-old sister, is like my best friend, and then Madrona is like, I feel like I'm her godmother or something, and then Desmond, like same thing. Like I feel like I'm their auntie or godmother or something like that.
Yeah.
But it is kind of fun because then they get super excited when they see me, and they're like, Maya! Like, it gets to be like the fun one. They're like, Maya! Yay!
Yeah.
And like with my boyfriend too, like it feels like we get that, like we get to spoil them and be fun. In one of my songs on my EP, it's like all about my sisters specifically. I wrote it before my brother was born. But
you gotta make a new one.
I know. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh. But my sister Isa and Madrona are actually like in the very end. They have this little talking portion back and forth, and it's like by far my favorite song because I'm just like, my sisters, my babies. So
does your sister feel sad that you don't live on Vashon anymore though? Like, has it kind of made them want to leave the nest soon?
My sister Isa, she's about to graduate high school, and I think she misses me, but I don't think she ever had plans of staying on Vashon. Like, she wants to be an actress. She's super talented and like fucking gorgeous, and so I'm like, okay, I feel like I just have this inherent knowing that she's probably gonna be famous too. So I think I see us both being in LA someday.
Hell yeah.
So I don't think she minds as much. And then Nona and Desmond don't even know a life where I did really live on Vashon.
Whoa,
So yeah.
For me, I grew up on Mercer Island, so there's there's a bridge, right? But like, I still felt a culture shock once I graduated, and like I tell people, like, even though Mercer Island's super, super fucking white, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I felt like racism or anything until I left the island.
Interesting.
So I wonder what it would be like for you living on Vashon where it's literally like an adventure to leave Vashon. You're like, oh, I'm going over town, you know?
Yeah.
Like, was that a culture shock at all for you when you started leaving more? Or
I tried to get off island as much as I possibly could when I was younger. Like, the minute my mom felt comfortable with me leaving, taking the bus, whatever, I was like gone. Like, I was like, okay. My senior year of high school too, I did running start, so I was like taking classes at Seattle Central. So I tried to kind of make that not be as much of a thing. However, I will say like my boyfriend's from the city, and I feel like, and also like a person of color, and I feel like I have had to learn so much that like Vashon, like Vashon shelters you, and it definitely, they're like ranked the most liberal place like in America or something crazy like that. It was like the most liberal, but we're also literally like 99.9% white.
Yeah.
So there's a lot like fucking crazy. So I think that there might have been a culture shock that I didn't necessarily notice at the time, but there's definitely, I don't know if this is because I'm an adult or because of just moving into a city, but there's definitely been a lot of like things that I just didn't even realize that I've had to like teach myself or learn and be more aware of, because Vashon, for being liberal, is still so small
100%.
and so white and so like, you know what I'm saying.
Do you know what the app Randonautica is? So it's like, I like to tell people it's kind of like the app version. I feel like this might be a bad example, but I describe it as like the app version of like a Ouija board almost. Kinda. Like you kind of put like your energy on what you want to do, and then it sends you like a random location to go to, right? Yeah. And how much of it is real, or are you just like thinking that something's going to happen and then you expecting something to happen and then then
it happens? Yeah.
But like, for example, like when those like body parts and suitcases showed up in West Seattle a couple years ago, the people who found it were using Randonautica. But basically, I used one of the last times I was on Vashon, I used Randonautica.
On Vashon?
Yeah, and it literally took me to this like into the woods. And there were like pots and pans and baby dolls and baby doll heads. Oh my God. Like hanging from like the tree branches.
I've never seen that. I was like, holy fuck. That was just for you.
Yeah.
That was the app. Yeah. I've never seen that. I've never gotten like a creepy vibe from Vashon, really. Mostly, Sean is disagreeing with me there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds horrifying. I'm so sorry.
But it does seem like the houseless people on Vashon. It feels like, from my experience, it seems like they're more part of the community than just being like shunned.
Totally. I think it depends, but like I think as a community, everybody tries to make sure everyone's good. Yeah. I'm sure that there are a lot of like missteps and people that do go under the radar, and I also know that like our houseless community is statistically higher than I think I thought before I like actually learned about the statistics, because I think if you technically you qualify as being like a houseless person if you're living without plumbing, or if you're living in an RV but you don't like live there all the time, like, so you don't have to necessarily like be on the street to be considered. So I didn't realize how many people we had that were in that situation. Yeah. But I do think like we have up there they have like food banks and like you know, if I don't think anyone would starve to death if I don't think people would let that happen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that is kind of nice. Yeah. You know?
There we go. Yeah. I think it's also funny that I could nerd out about you with Vashon like all day. Yeah. But also, last thing about Vashon, it's funny that there's only one chain on Vashon, the Subway. And the rest is like...
Yeah. That was a culture shock, actually. I used to be, okay, because from living until I was 10 in Portland. Yeah. So I was like child in Portland. Coming to Vashon, I wanted like Taco Bell and like Jamba Juice. Those were like the two things I literally craved. I would like be up at night and I would be like, I just want Taco Bell. And like that is not a possibility. You can't get things Postmated because they'd have to take the ferry. That is not it. And Gemma actually and Girl Band Productions was up on Vashon to help me film a video like last week. And it was like 8 p.m. and they were like, so what food should we get? And I was like, oh no, everything is closed. Yeah. And they were like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, sorry about that. We can make some pasta or something. Like we ended up finding like the one place that was still open. It was like a pizza place. Yeah. But yeah, that has been a culture shock.
And then there's like one lady that Ubers. There's like one
She's not even there anymore. Oh, no. You're fucked. If you don't have a car and the bus is running late, like you're stuck on Vashon forever. Yeah.
So would you consider yourself like a Portland artist or a Vashon artist or a Seattle artist?
Oh my gosh. I always am like Pacific Northwest based Maijah. Portland, I guess. Yeah, for right now, even though all my friends are in Seattle, except for my one friend, Hazel.
Hazel, nice name.
She's TikTok famous, and she's also an artist.
Does she have hazel eyes at least?
She has brown eyes.
Okay, close enough, right?
Close enough. I have hazel eyes, so
Nice.
I kind of got that for her. Maybe it works out. We can be matching in that way. Yeah, but all of my friends are in Seattle besides her, really. And then definitely would not consider myself a Vashon artist, though.
Yeah,
people would be like, who? Where?
Who?
What is that? Yeah.
So do you push on TikTok then, or do you have like a TikTok following, or?
I mean, I try. I think that my social media could definitely be amped up. I keep kind of waiting for the day that something goes super viral, and then I'm gonna be like in, because I feel like once you're in, you can definitely ride that wave. But yeah, I wouldn't say I have like a big TikTok following at all.
And you're not. Are you really considered like part of the Seattle music scene? Really, like, are you part of like a music scene, or just like Gemma?
Yeah,
Gemma's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
They're like a video production, music video stuff, and then they are connected to some artists also, some who have been on the podcast even. But like even Gemma is kind of in her own community. I don't know. I think she's taking a lot of steps. Like she was just on Belltown Bloom.
Yeah, girl band did that whole thing.
So I think they're taking some massive leaps and bounds and getting into the music scene. And I feel like
totally, maybe
not even a couple years, maybe a couple months. If like the push they're doing, they'll definitely be like a statement in the Seattle music scene.
Oh yeah, but for sure. I feel like already that's like starting to happen for them.
So what's that like for you? Would you consider yourself in the music scene, or just like some artists?
Independent, Maijah. Like, yeah, I think I have my foot in the door with with that specific Seattle music scene. Like those people, I'm like homies with them, and like I think I am gonna start to try to like play more shows in the Seattle area too. I'm planning something secret in later this summer.
Nice.
But I'm also trying to get more into the Portland music scene too. Like I have a show, my like EP release show is later this month on the 22nd.
Is that, and that's the release, the actual release of the episode?
Well, the release is coming on May 21st, and then of Star Fairy, my EP. Ooh. And then the release show is happening May 22nd. In Portland. So I am trying. Yeah, I'm like, okay, like things are opening up. I'm gonna try to get more in the scene. But yeah, I kind of do feel that way. That's like an interesting observation that I haven't really thought about before. I'm like, definitely am kind of like free agent. And then at parties when I'm in Seattle, everybody, like you even thought I was from LA. Everybody's always like, don't you live in LA? Like, don't you live in, where are you from? Like people don't ever know that I'm from Portland because it's just kind of like random.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about your new EP.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Matthew Woke Mastering mastered it.
Yeah, he did.
I love
That's
Matthew.
the scene that I'm in. Matthew has literally mastered every single thing that I've released on my own or like since,
Fuzz. Oh my God, I got it. No, I didn't.
That's a fairy right there.
I got it. That's a fairy.
There it is, folks.
Wait, before we get into your music, actually, have you seen any like fairies or anything? Have you seen anything magical before? Like, do you believe in like aliens or any weird shit?
Yes, I do. I believe in like star seeds, aliens. I think a lot of people are aliens. I think that's definitely true. And then, yeah, I feel like I've seen fairies too.
Really?
I bet mermaids are probably real as well. I've never seen one, but I bet they are.
Who did I just have a discussion with? Oh my God, I just had a discussion with someone about like where the mermaid's vagina would be.
Where do you think it would be?
It would be in their tail.
At like the very bottom of their fins?
No, it would be in the middle.
Where do fishes? No, it's at the bottom. Do fishes have vaginas?
Do fishes have vaginas?
I'm sorry, I'm flustered right now. I've never thought about this before. Maybe mermaids are actually upside down. And we've gotten it wrong this whole time. We're like, they're so pretty, but maybe they're actually like top is fish and then the bottom is like human legs.
Oh gosh, yeah, we've never seen. Ew.
We've never seen one.
They just have like a leg.
We've never seen one, so we never know. Someday we'll find out.
So, I actually did an episode about what was it? Yeah, star seeds and indigo children. Because I have a conspiracy podcast, and that's actually one of my most popular podcasts.
What is it called?
It's called the BBC podcast. So it's like a play on words because me and my co-host are both black, and Brian. So his name is Brian Barnett. I'm Blake Burton. So it's Blake Burnham, Brian Barnett conspiracies. There's a lot of double entendres going on with the name, but it does actually really well. And the Starseeds episode is like one of our most successful episodes.
That is so interesting. We have to listen to that episode going back because I feel like I listened to. I am so subscribed to Starseeds and that whole ideology. I'm like, I think it's so interesting.
Like people have put it in their like YouTube playlist and stuff, so it gets a lot of play.
Yeah, I totally believe in that.
But have you seen like? So have you seen weird? She said.
I feel like I've seen fairies and I've seen ghosts for sure.
Really?
Ghosts for sure, dude. But fairies, yeah, I feel like I'll like walk. I will say I do have glitter on my eyes at like all times, so it could be that.
Does it get in your eyes or like?
No, I'm like I got it on lock. I got a system. It gets on my boyfriend a lot. He's sighing over there, covered in glitter. Our sheets. So there's that. But my eyes are always perfect. I'm like they're comfortable. But I do think, especially on Vashon or like in nature, there have totally been times where I've been like walking through and I'll like see something fly by and I'll kind of look and it'll look like a little fairy and then it'll just be gone and I'm like, But I think that if you believe in those things, then you're more likely to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a ghost story then we'll get into the album. I'm very interested in this.
I have one.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot that I could tell from like my parents' perspectives, but my first one that's like I stand by it. You're gonna laugh probably. It was a ghost cat.
Oh.
And yeah, there's a chuckle there. No, it was a ghost cat, and it's real. It happened. I was 4 years old. We were living in a haunted house, and my dad, we had these like stairs that went from like outside into the basement, and my dad had to like run into the basement into the house like to change laundry or something. I don't remember, but he was like, "Here, you just sit here." He like left the door open. I was like fine. I was like sitting on the stairs, and then all of a sudden, this cat, this like orange fluffy cat,
Garfield.
Everyone fucking says that. Yeah, like the real version of Garfield ran out like super fast, like way too fast for it to be real, and like ran through me. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? And then I looked at my dad and I was like, he like came out and I was like, Daddy, what cat was that? Like, that wasn't one of our cats. And he was like, what are you talking about? And then he looked down and he was like, what happened to your knee? And I looked down and I had this trail of blood just going down my knee, like this one line of just blood. So I started freaking the fuck out because I was a kid, and then he like cleaned me up and stuff. It was not a big cut, but I still have the scar from it. It was like this like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's like right here.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was a ghost cat. Definitely real.
Ghost cats.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Let's get into this album now.
So yeah.
What's the title of it again?
Star Fairy.
Star
Fairy. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about it. What was this? This is your first ever project?
It is. It's my first EP.
And are you nervous about? Are you excited? Do you think you've accomplished everything you wanted?
I'm excited for it. Yeah. It's 6 songs. Some of them have been released already. One of them, Sparkly, is remixed and remastered and re-recorded as well. So like it's a familiar song, but it's better. It's like Sparkly 2.0.
Yeah.
And then there's some new songs on there that have never been heard before, and I'm really I feel like it's for who I am right now. It's like the blend of like everything that kind of makes me as an artist. So I'm excited to kind of feel understood. And also excited because I think the songs are really good.
Hell yeah. And where did you record at?
Several different places. So some of them were recorded at the Ruby Room in Seattle.
Elon
did Autumn Vibes. And then Talea Logan did my other ones.
Oh, wow.
She is awesome.
She was on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talea's fucking dope. Both, and so is Elon. So they did a lot of it. And then I recorded a couple in Portland with Tobias Burblinger at Singing Sands, which is also really dope too.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's where it was recorded. And then I had my friend Angelo and Nick Casey both work on mixing.
Is that Stella Mars guy?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Shout out Nick.
Nick Casey is also so awesome. His production and mixing is so good. So they're like, when I said earlier, I'm like getting into a little bit of a music community with friends, like Stella and Nick. Those are like.
Do you know Tapron yet?
Yeah, I just met Tab. Yeah. So all of those people, I'm kind of like starting to be like, hi.
Oh.
But yeah, so they mixed it. Matthew mastered everything. There's production by a ton of different artists. Nick is one of them. Angelo, my friend Laurentis, is the other. Monita, she's like a high vibe artist.
Nice.
She did one. And then Eli Jonathan did one. Yeah, and I think my tagline for it is to make people feel like the main character. Like every song, they're all very different. They're all very multi-genred, but they're all very lyrically led and vocally led, and they all have main character energy.
Hell yeah.
So that's kind of like
break down what I think I just recently learned about this main character theory. Break down the main character.
It's just the era that you're in when you feel like when you listen to a song or watch a movie or put on an outfit and you're like, I feel like the main character in a movie right now. Or, you know, when you're a kid and, like, it's raining and you're in the backseat of a car and you, like, look out the window and you, like, pretend you're in a sad music video. That's main character energy. It's, like, the energy that you are the main character of your life. And you don't have to be a dick about it because that sucks. But, like, you can be in your main character energy and I can be in my main character. We can all be our own main character. And that's really what I'm trying to emphasize with the album. I feel like
nice.
It's very cinematic.
I have something about that though. I think a lot about, like, you know, like how some people are like what is the right word? Their job kind of comes off as they're the one that pushes another person forward, right? They're like this. Someone sometimes is like a stepping stone for someone else to succeed.
Yeah.
Do you think that might be considered being like a side character if you're not the one who ever gets the shine, but you end up pushing someone to be the best they are?
Yeah, I think you can do that and still be the main character in your own zone too. Like I am so like sister and community oriented that I like to see everybody shine, but I think main character energy comes from within you more so where you are in the public eye, because I think if you're feeling like the main character and you're rocking your like highest confidence, everything else you're gonna radiate that energy, and then people are gonna be like, damn, like that's the main character of their own thing, you know. So I think you can push people up, but I think you can also, in doing that, push others up as well. Like like you with your podcast, right? You help push others up. You like give people a platform to talk about their thing, but like it's your podcast, like that's Blake's podcast, so you're the main character, but like also the people that you have on are like the main character of the episode, you know. Or like with Gemma, with Gemma, like they like take the girl band in general, like takes pictures of people, helps with their production, so that artist is the main character, but in that artist's head, Girl Band Productions is the one to go to like make your videos and stuff. So I don't know. I think by helping others, you can still be in that zone.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So as an independent artist who hasn't really connected with the Seattle music scene yet, from my experience with talking with artists, it seems like they find producers and engineers from doing shows or whatever and connecting with people. How did you come about finding things like production studios or like Elon or Matthew or anything like that?
It's all been like connections, honestly. Anna Thompson, I remember I posted like, hey guys, when I was doing Sparkly, because that was my first like debut song by myself, like my solo song. I was like, who does your mastering? And I just posted on Instagram and like Anna Thompson swiped up, which was super nice of her. And she was like, oh my God, you have to use Matthew. So then I was like, cool, Anna's songs sound awesome. I'm going to hit up Matthew. And then he's just been super accessible ever since. And it's kind of stuff like that. Like, okay, wow. Literally, it was really scary at first, but I just put stuff like on Instagram or ask kind of my friends and be like, what do you do for this? Like, who helps you? And then usually people don't gatekeep. Yeah. And if they do, I don't know that they are because, you know, they're not telling me. But yeah, usually people share their resources. And I try to do the same thing now. If people ask me, I'm always like, this is how I did it. And this is what I'm doing. And this is how I got my streams, because I just feel like it's good, like karma. And then you make connections, you make friends, and it just kind of keeps growing. Yeah. And I met Elon through a Vashon connection, actually. Wow. Yeah, I like posted something like, hey, does anybody know some cool like Vashon or Seattle recording studios? And my friend Ginger like DM'd me personally, and she was like, Elon at the Ruby Room, that's my family, like I've grown up with him, you should definitely hit him up. And then the rest is history. And then he hooked me up with Talea, and it just kind of...
Dang, you know so many people with interesting names. Ginger, Hazel, your name's Maya with a J. Like, you're out here.
Maya with a J. All of my siblings, too, have super silly names, which is, very, very, like, fairy family, for sure.
Have you ever dressed up as a fairy for, like, Halloween?
You mean yesterday? Yeah, I'm like, you mean right now? every day of my life, bro.
I
just personify. That's why the EP. That's why the EP is Star Fairy. So my real name is Maijah Anastasia Sanson Frey, like Sanson-Frey.
Okay.
And apparently
Frey
when I was
Fairy, that's my thing.
I know. So apparently when I was like 5 or 6 or whatever, my teacher told my family that people would ask. She would be like, "What's your full name? What's your full name?" And I would always change it every time. I would say Maijah Sanson Flower, Maijah Sanson Fairy, and change it every time. And I just learned that story, and I was like, "Whoa, that's hella fitting." And so Star Fairy was just gonna be Star Fairy because that's like my aesthetic. I love the stars. I love star seed ideology, astrology, glitter, and then also the fairy thing. And I realized like it's like Maijah's album, and then it's like Star Fairy, so it's MSF, Maijah Sanson Frey.
Oh wow!
So I put the hyphen in between to be like, that's like me. It's like Maijah Star Fairy SF.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And what made you decide to go with like your government name versus like some crazy name?
My
like
government name,
like Fairy or something as your stage name?
Dude, it could very well change because there are so many Maijahs. Shout out at the beginning of this episode.
Maijah Manzer.
Help. Seriously, we're gonna be best friends or enemies, so you gotta make her like me, please. Like, but I think just my name is so weirdly spelled, you know. And I remember my grandpa, who just died, actually, rest in peace, but it's cute. He, actually, this is so cute. Yeah, I remember being like 10, and he was like, he came up to me and he was like, "Your name is special enough as it is." Like, he was telling me the spelling, and he was like, "If you want to be famous," because I always have, he's like, "You keep your name." So that's why it's where it's at right now.
And his name was Gandalf, right? Or
his
something?
name was Gandalf. No, actually, we called him Grandpaya because my name is Maijah and I was the first grandchild, and it was spelled GRANDPAIJAH. So every time we talk about him, it's like Grandpaya, like my name too.
Lord.
Yeah.
So what song off your album is your favorite, and which one do you think is going to be the listener's favorite?
Good question. I actually put out a little quiz, like one of those magazine like teeny bop quizzes that you like follow down the line. And by far, I think that my song Magnetize, which is completely new, kind of written for the EP, that's going to be the favorite. I just already know. I can tell. It's all about like sisters. That's the one that my sisters are in. Bad bitch energy, main character energy, like very, very sparkly, very like Doja Cat inspired. My favorite flip-flops, but I think I like Cinnamon right now. It's very like, it gives me like the Weekend vibes, kind of very cinematic, like siren energy. But Magnetize is for sure going to be the favorite.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to touch on?
I don't know. Stream Star Fairy, come to my show, hit me up so I can have a community of musicians and not just be my own free agent.
Yeah.
And don't physically smoke your crystals when you're charging them.
That's some good advice.
That's not gonna and that's it.
And what is something you want to tell yourself for the near future when you're looking back on this?
How
not the
near
near
future?
Maybe far future. Why did I say it so far future?
Far future. Maijah, you are so cute, and I'm so proud of you for putting yourself out there and for working on this. And I'm so happy that you kept working on it, because now that I'm an A-list celebrity and Grammy winner and Oscar winner, I just feel so grateful for your hard work. So love you.
Hell yeah. And what is the easiest way for people to reach you?
It's Maijah Music, is my Instagram handle, MAIJAH Music. I always have to say that on the phone when I'm talking to people. So yeah, at Maijah Music, or you can also email me, maijahmusic@gmail.com.
There we go.
Yeah.
This has been the NAST podcast with
Maijah.
And we did it.